Savitam Parishna Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishnukamritam Nischa Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Shamini Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatcha Desatadini Panchakal Patru Distikri Pisan Deva Chapatitan Bhavane Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaya Te Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gauri Krishna Maha Panchatattvamakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Surupakam Bhaktyavatar Bhaktyakhyam Namani Bhakti Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Krishna Jayatam Surator Pangor Mama Mandir Matyar Gati Maksavasva Param Bhojao Shri Radha Madana Mohano Vibhid Bindarani Kalpadru Madha Srimatra Nagareshi Hashnas Shrimad Radha Shrimu Govinda Devo Krishna Devi Sevya Manasmarani Shriman Rasara Saram Vivam Shiva Tatta Tasbata Karshan Viman Svanayari Gopi Gopinath Shri Staraha Tapta Kanchana Gaurang Gay Rab He Vrindavan Ishwari Vrishabhana Stuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasi Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, unto Nada Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. This morning we are reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, second canto, second chapter, The Lord in the Heart, text number 23. Please repeat this verse after me, line by line. Yogeshwaram line by line. Yogeshwaranam gatim ahur antar Yogeshwaranam gatim ahur antar Ahistrilokya pavanantaratmanam Ahistrilokya pavanantaratmanam Na karma vishtam gatim apnuvanti Na karma vishtam gatim apnuvanti Vidyatapo yoga samadhi bhajam Vidyatapo yoga samadhi bhajam. Group and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Transcendentalists are concerned with the spiritual body. As such, by the strength of their devotional service, austerities, mystic power, and transcendental knowledge, their movements are unrestricted, within and beyond the material worlds. The fruitive workers or the gross materialists can never move in such an unrestricted manner. Report: the materialistic scientists' endeavor to reach other planets by mechanical vehicles is only a futile attempt. One can, however, reach heavenly planets by virtuous activities, but one can never expect to go beyond Svarga or Janaloka by such mechanical or materialistic activities, either gross or subtle. The Transcendentalists, who have nothing to do with the gross material body, can move anywhere within or beyond the material worlds. Within the material worlds, they move in the planetary systems of the Mahar, Jana, Tapas, and Satyaloka, and beyond the material worlds, they can move in the Vaikunthas as unrestricted spacemen. Narada Muni is one of the examples of such spacemen, and Durvasa Muni is one of such mystics. By the strength of devotional service, austerities, mystic powers, and transcendental knowledge, everyone can move like Narada Muni or Durvasa Muni. It is said that Durvasa Muni traveled through the entirety of material space and part of spiritual space within 1 year only. The speed of the Transcendentalists can never be attained by the gross or subtle materialists. Yogeshwaranam gatimahurantarbahistri lokya Ovanantaratmanam karma vistan gatim apnuvanti idyatapo yoga samadhi bhaja. Transcendentalists are concerned with the spiritual body. As such, by the strength of their devotional service, austerities, mystic power, and transcendental knowledge, their movements are unrestricted within and beyond the material worlds. The fruitive workers or the gross materialists can never move in such an unrestricted manner. The first word of this verse is Yogeshwarana. Srila Prabhupada has translated of the great saints and devotees, because they are the masters of yoga that is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says of all yogis, yoginamapi sarvesham maktajanantaratmana shadavan bhajate yoma same yuktatamama. The most perfect of all classes of yogis. There are karma yogis, there are jnana yogis, there are siddha or astanga yogis. But of all these different classes, the most perfect are the bhakti yogis, who are intimately united with the Lord in love and devotion. Pure faith, Shraddhavan Bhajate Yoma. So they are the supreme, Yoga Ishwaranam, the supreme among the yogis. And as Srila Prabhupada states in the translation, they are concerned only with the spiritual body. In Vedanta system of philosophy, there is the explanation of the koshas. Koshas means the coverings of the soul, beginning with the Annamaya Kosh, which refers to the gross physical body, which is known technically as the Stula Sharira. Stula Sharira means, again, gross physical body, which grows on the basis of Anna, eating. Therefore, this platform is Annamaya. So as we eat, the Stula Sharira is nourished. But one is restricted. If one is fixed, identifying with this Annamaya platform, then, according to the explanation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, such a person cannot go beyond the Bhur Loka. So there are three worlds, Bhur, Bhuva, Svah. So Bhur Loka actually means all the lower regions, which are inhabited by the demons, the Svarga system, up to the surface of the earth. On the surface of the earth, we're also blessed with Stula Sharira. So one cannot go beyond when one is in this conception. So Prabhupada explains how such gross materialists who are on this Annamaya platform, simply interested in the most gross functions of the body, they may construct some mechanical contrivance, some flying garbage can, and fill it with the necessities of maintaining this gross physical body and launch it into outer space. But actually, in actual fact, they go nowhere. They do not attain anything higher, because wherever they go, they're still in this Annamaya Stula Sharira concept. Therefore, they never go beyond the Bhuloka. Wherever they think they're going, they never go beyond Bhuloka. So they think they went to the moon, but they never left the conception of Bhuloka. Therefore, Prabhupada, he discounted completely. Well, there are many speculative devotees like to wonder, did they actually go to Chandraloka but couldn't see it because they did not have the eyes to see, or did they go to Rahu, or was it all done in Arizona? But actually, these questions are not important, really. Some of you may be fond of Bhaktivedanta. You may be fond of breaking your head with such problems. But actually, In fact, they're not important. Because on the basis of Vedanta, we know they do not get beyond Bhur Loka, Anamaya conception. So, to get beyond, to go to Bhuva Loka, which is in the Antariksha, which is also, this goes up to the moon. It is the region in between Earth and the beginning of Svarga, heavenly planets, which is the moon. One has to cultivate the Linga Sharira. So Linga Sharira means the subtle body, sometimes known in Western esoteric circles as the astral body. So there are those who do this astral projection or whatever. So by this cultivation, one can move in the antariksha. One can also attain a place on some region, like the yakshas and rakshasas. They're somewhere up there in between. Gandharvas also. And then beyond heavenly planets, and especially also beyond heavenly planets, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, up to Satyaloka, one requires another kind of body, which is actually purified subtle body, purified by yoga. And this Madhvacharya calls the Karana Deha, like the Karana Jal, Karana ocean. So by developing mystic powers, one can come to this point where he can even enter Karana Jal and approach Lord Mahavishnu. The greatest yogis, Prabhupada explains, there's a purport where he explains how the most successful yogis, they can attain Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, and they ride on Lord Brahma's coattails, so to speak. When this universe dissolves, then Lord Brahma, he takes shelter of Mahavishnu. And those yogis who managed, by cultivation of the Karana Deha, to attain the shelter of Brahma, they can go with him to the gateway of Vaikuntha, Mahavishnu Loka. It is also Vaikuntha. Mahavishnu is Lord Narayan. But generally, those who are on this Karana Deha platform of yoga, there is some simply devotion, but it is mixed. And Madhvacharya, Prabhupada quotes Madhvacharya in the third canto, a purport, how after attaining the shelter of Mahavishnu, because they still have this mystical, say, fascination for mysticism. Therefore, they want to see the Lord's display of mystic opulence, again, in the form of manifesting the unlimited universes. The Lord does this by his mystic powers. This is explained by Lord Krishna in the 11th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that the cosmic manifestation is created, maintained, and destroyed by the Ashtasiddhi, the eightfold mystic powers, which are actually the personal powers of Lord Vishnu himself. So the mystic yogis are fascinated by these powers. They want to share in them. And so they become lords when the universes come out again, then desiring to also share in these mystic opulences and the manipulation of matter in a very wonderful way. They become lords of the universe. Brahma is the first of them. And then Brahma has his immediate sons and the great demigods, great controllers, and so on. So this Srila Prabhupada in that purport explains it is a kind of fall down. Even this, to be on the platform of Karana Deha, this platform of yoga, it is not the perfection. The perfection is explained here. Those who are really yoga Ishvara are pure bhakti yogis. And they are concerned only with the spiritual body. That means they're concerned only with the service of the Supreme Lord, engaging the senses in the service, actually giving pleasure to the transcendental senses of the Lord. One who does this, he is a bhakti yogi. He has his siddha deha, his perfectional spiritual body by which he gives pleasure to Krishna. Now, because Yoga Ishvara, because the bhakti yogis are the masters of the whole yoga system, then everything else is automatically included. The bhakti yogis can also have a sthula, linga, karana, deha, which is what? Which is only engaged in Krishna service. So, and they also have all mystic powers. But they do not use them in magic. They do not use them simply to impress others and delude them. They use them also, mystic powers, only in the service of the Lord. A good example, well, one example we can give is just like Lakshmi. Lakshmi is another opulence. Just like the mystic power is opulence of Krishna, so also is Lakshmi. So it's not that one is a devotee, as Prabhupada, a very wonderful quote by Srila Prabhupada, when he was talking about one famous, very famous, so-called Paramahamsa in India, who was claiming to be so spiritual, so renounced, that his hand automatically turned away from Lakshmi. Whenever someone would try to put money in his hands, it would automatically, without his conscious control, like, there's this plant, mimosa, as soon as you touch it, it wilts. So like that, his hand would immediately avoid any contact with money. So this was his claim to spiritual advancement. But actually, Prabhupada explained, my hand automatically takes the money, spends it, and comes back for more. But spends it in Krishna's service. So also, all mystic opulences are there, just like Lakshmi is there to be engaged in Krishna's service by the devotee. So similarly, the mystic opulences, Prasiddhi, the Anima, Mahima, Lagima, Prapti, Prakamya, and so on, are there at the devotee's disposal. But only he accepts, only he utilizes only for Krishna's service. Otherwise, not. This requires intelligence. This requires great discrimination, great intelligence. Just like, again, the use of money in Krishna's service. Money, Prabhupada warns, you'll find, it is a cause of fall down for the neophyte spiritualist. Therefore, yes, it is better that he avoids, because he's neophyte. He has no intelligence, forefront of knowledge. But one who is mature, knows the science of pleasing Krishna, then with very profound discrimination, he knows how to engage Lakshmi, he knows how to engage everything in Krishna's service. Just like Shakshad Hari, Tvena Samasta Shastra, what the spiritual master should be worshipped in the same way as the Supreme Lord is worshipped. All opulence is offered to the Lord because it is His, and similarly it should be offered to the Lord's pure devotee. But Srila Prabhupada said also with discrimination. Just like Prabhupada actually gave the example of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva's foolish devotees, they offend him because they have no discrimination in their worship. They want to glorify Lord Shiva, their Ishtadevata, but because they're fools, they proclaim him to be God, the Supreme Lord. So they offend him. So similarly, if one tries to worship the spiritual master, he should be worshipped on the same level, but that does not mean that he is God. Rather, the worship should be for the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the spiritual master. Now, also to serve Krishna means to directly offer wealth and opulence to the spiritual master, because that pleases Krishna. Krishna becomes pleased when he sees his devotee glorified. So all this requires such discrimination. It's like when someone was criticizing Srila Prabhupada, that why you were riding in Rolls-Royce car. And Srila Prabhupada replied, actually I should be riding in a golden car. Car of pure gold, because of this verse, Shakshat Hadintmena Samasta Shastra. But then another time when Prabhupada was taken to a program in Australia, an Australian university. At that time, in the 70s, there was much leftist radicalism in Western European, American, Australian universities. So the devotees indiscriminately brought Srila Prabhupada there in the Rolls-Royce car. So that almost started a riot. And they were accusing Srila Prabhupada of being working for the CIA and this and that, so many things. So Prabhupada, after the program, he corrected his disciples that in this case, you should not have brought me here in this car. So it requires such discrimination. Buddhi yoga. So the devotees, they know how to discriminate because they are simply Krishna conscious. It's like this word samadhi, Srila Prabhupada translates as knowledge. Lord Krishna says, jnana yam, jnanagamyam, I am knowledge, I am object of knowledge, I am source of knowledge. So one who is Krishna conscious is automatically situated in perfect knowledge, perfect discrimination. But this is not so difficult, because it simply means he knows how to please Krishna. The one who is serious, sincere about pleasing Krishna, and Tesham evanukam paratam ahamajnana tamikamaha, Lord Krishna says, I remove the darkness of ignorance from his heart because of his sincere desire. Tesham saptata yuktamam, he's always engaged in my devotional service. So this is the Bhakti Yogi. Narada Muni is mentioned. Another famous Bhakti Yogi is Lord Shiva, Vaishnavanam Yatasham. And we see in Lord Shiva, he has all mystic opulences, therefore he's called Yogi Raj. He is worshipped by all the mystics, all the materialists. They're all worshipping him to achieve his ashirvad, his benediction. But he himself is a pure devotee of the Lord, and he's setting such a nice example of the utilization of opulence and mystic power in Krishna's service. He accepts none of this for himself. Actually, he is vairagi. This vidya, tapo, yoga, samadhi, bhaja reminds us of that verse, vairagya vidya bhakti yoga. Krishna consciousness includes the topmost yoga system, bhakti yoga, vidya, transcendental knowledge, and vairagya, renunciation. All of this together constitutes Krishna consciousness. So Lord Shiva is vairagi. But sometimes when it is appropriate, then he is manifesting opulences, but generally not. Just like after the death of, after the Sati Devi, she left her body. She consumed her body in the mystic fire of meditation, being so distraught by the rude behavior of her father, Prajapati Daksha, towards her husband, her eternal consort, Lord Shiva. So she took her next birth as the daughter of Maharaj Parvata, who is the king of the Himalaya. So therefore she is known as Parvati. And when she was born, Parvata Maharaj was advised by Narada Muni that your daughter is the eternal consort of Lord Shiva. So when you arrange her marriage, you may only arrange with Lord Shiva himself, no one else. So Maharaj Parvata was very gladdened to hear this, but on the other side he had a doubt, because as fathers are, he was very attached to his daughter. Fathers tend to be very attached to their daughters, and mothers tend to be very attached to their sons. And thus they are very concerned for their welfare. Fathers want their daughters to be married to very nice husbands and have no problems in their life. And if there are problems, then in Vedic system, father is always ready to give shelter to his daughter again at any time in life. So he was concerned that Lord Shiva, he's a Vairagi. He lives under a big banyan tree in Kailash, practically wearing nothing, only tiger skin. And how will he provide for my beloved daughter, Parvati? But sage Narada had said he must marry her to Lord Shiva, so there's no question of anyone else being chosen. So he arranged for a great marriage ceremony. He invited all of his friends, relatives, the demigods. Huge festival. And he sent also a message to Lord Shiva. Please come and bring all your family members, all of your friends. We're having a big feast. I've spent my whole treasury on the preparations. So, to honor this wedding, everyone should come hungry and prepared to eat. Nice festival. So, Lord Shiva replied that yes, I will come, but I have no family and friends. So I'll bring one little fellow with me. A little boy, a little bald-headed boy with a big belly named Kundodara. He's a kind of expansion of Lord Shiva. I'll bring him. Otherwise, I have no one else. So again, Parvat Maharaj, he was concerned. Oh, what is this? This is the Griha Dharma, you know. Everybody comes, as many as you can cram in, and eat a big feast and have a good time. And this Vairagi Lord Shiva, he says he's coming with one little boy, one brahmachari assistant. This is going to, you know, really take the flavor away from everything. We want to be happy, enjoy. So, Lord Shiva arrived. Now, Lord Shiva, knowing that, because this is Vedic system, when one gets married, one should show some opulence. So he came in a special form called Kameshwara. When he arrived, suddenly he was bedecked with all kinds of jewels, ornaments, and wonderful clothing. No one had ever seen Lord Shiva in such a form before. They were all, so Parvat Maharaj was very impressed. Oh, getting into it. Great. So that's because Lord Shiva's thinking, I'm getting married. Shastra says one should show some opulence. So he did at that time. But still there was the problem of this huge feast. And Lord Shiva's only brought one guest. So Lord Shiva said to Parvat Maharaj, yes, this is Kundodara. Funny looking little boy, bald head, big belly. He's hungry, you know, so bring him something. All right, but what can a little boy eat? So they brought one plate. And as soon as they brought it out of the kitchen, this Kundodara, he just looked at it. And by looking at it, all the food on the plate instantly jumped from the plate into his mouth and went down into his belly. So fast, no one could even see how it happened. They should have known from the name, Kundodara. It means belly like a lake of the Kund. So then Kundodara, his eyes became very red after inhaling this whole plate of prasadam. His eyes became very red and began to look here and there, and he was saying, food, food, I'm hungry, give me food. And Lord Shiva smiled and said, better not waste time. Better not waste time endeavoring to bring the food from the kitchen. Just bring him into the kitchen. So they brought Kundodara into the kitchen. And there was, yes, so many wonderful preparations stacked up. This is, of course, cooking on the level of the demigods. So huge amounts and highest quality. So Kundodara just looked around and all that food just instantly jumped into his belly and was gone. And then Parvat Maharaj, he suddenly had a new problem. All of his opulences were exhausted. And so he was now worried. Oh, all the demigods are arriving. I've sent nice invitations, RSVP, and all of that, and now they've come, and I have nothing to feed them and nothing in my treasury. And Lord Shiva smiled and said, don't worry, just set them in rows. So they're all set down in rows. And then Lord Shiva stood by his new father-in-law and said, oh, my dear Devatas, I want each one of you here, each guest, just imagine the best foodstuff, the foodstuff that you are most enthusiastic to eat. And just imagine it to the highest standard you can imagine. So these are demigods, this is not Radha style cooking. At least the way it used to be here. I don't know about now. Maybe it's improved. Of course, it was very famous in the past. Indigestible. Only Kundodara could come. Anyway, these are demigods, and they were asked by Lord Shiva to conceive of the topmost preparations imaginable, and they did. And instantly, whatever they imagined appeared before them by the mystic power of Lord Shiva in unlimited quality. Unlimited quality and unlimited quantity. In other words, if someone was concentrating on one sweet ball, the perfect gulab jamun from Satyaloka, he would be focused on this one gulab jamun, and he would open his eyes, and there would be a mountain of such gulab jamun. And the more he would eat, the more would appear. So the demigods became embarrassed because they were eating, but there was more and more and more. Finally they had to beg Lord Shiva, enough! So this actually means success. When everyone at such a ceremony, a marriage festival, is hungry and enthusiastic to eat, and they eat, and they find the prasadam so tasty, out of this world, and they eat as much as they can, but still there's more and more and more, and finally they have to beg the host, please stop. That means success. That means it was a perfect feast. So Parvat Maharaj, then because Lord Shiva did all this just to allay Parvat Maharaj's doubts. So Parvat Maharaj, after seeing all this, he was so happy to turn over his daughter to Lord Shiva. Yes, you are the perfect husband for her, because only you could display such wondrous opulences. And Lord Shiva, and he accepted her hand and said, thank you very much. And then suddenly he reverted again. There he was, Lord Shiva in tiger skin, matted locks. And he was advising Parvati, you must also dress as a Vairagini. Now you will go to Kailash and live under a tree. But Parvat Maharaj could understand that this Vairagya of Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is the best of devotees, therefore all the mystic opulences, all opulence is there at his disposal. Although generally he does not accept anything for himself, only when the situation is appropriate. But there is no dearth of opulence. Rather, the devotee, yes, he's engaging everything in satisfying Krishna. That is his perfection. That is the quality of the siddha, the spiritual body. Just like when we read in the literature of the Goswamis, or thinking of Baladev Vijayabhusan, Goloka Vrindavan. So we often think that Vaikuntha Dham is the Aishwarya Dham. It is the Dham of opulence. And Goloka is a very simple place. But it is very most sweet, so it is called Madhura Dham. But actually, Baladev Vidyabhushan points out that within Goloka, because Goloka is the topmost spiritual planet, therefore it is the original place of all opulences. And although the appearance of Goloka, it appears to be very, very simple and rural, actually everything, Hare Krishna, even the grass, the trees, they're formed out of chintamani. They're priceless. Their value cannot possibly be estimated. So it is actually the most opulent place of all. And yet, the devotees, the difference between Goloka and Vaikuntha, although both are the spiritual world, is that in Goloka Vrindavan, the devotees have no personal interest in such opulence. Rather, they engage this opulence simply in satisfying Krishna. So this is a qualification of Siddhavaya, the spiritual body. Are there any questions? Yes? In his spiritual body, eternally, can make these pastimes more perfect, along with unlimited other confidential associates of the Lord. So the spiritual master, the pure devotee, has a form he exhibits by his mercy in this world for instructing, leading conditioned souls back home, back to God. That is called the sadhak form. The form as a sadhak, practitioner of sadhana bhakti. Acharya means he teaches by example, so he sets the example. Acharya, behavior, sadhana, practice, in that form. But internally, antar, there's antar bhakti. So internally, he is always engaged in serving Sri Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world, in the Siddha Deha, the spiritual body. Any other questions? Yes?
It's that the universes first come out of Mahavishnu and seeds, and when they come to the bottom of the cosmic ocean, they develop into the one universe, and if they return first the Mahaprabhu to the Pradhan, which Pradhan is sucked in by Mahavishnu, but then it seems that everything disappeared in all the material entities disappeared into the Lord and not into the cosmic ocean, and returns there. How should it be understood?
Well, not by speculation. This is Achincha. Achincha Kaliye Bhava Natam Starkam. Achincha cannot be understood by Tarka, by logic. They have to be understood by Shabda, by sound vibration. And the process of knowing a thing through Shabda is a process of purifying the heart. Shabda, the pure sound vibration, purifies the coverings, or cleanses the, like is stated in Bhagavatam, Pravishta Karnarandrena, that the incarnation of the Lord in the form of transcendental sound, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, enters the heart through the ears. Pravishta Karnarandrena, Svava, what is that? Svava Bhava Sarorukam, yes, and sits down on the lotus of his eternal relationship with the Lord and blooms there, causes that lotus to bloom. Dunoti Shamalam Krishna Yata Shavirashashara. So in this way, by constantly associating the Lord with the Lord through the hearing process and installing him through the hearing process in the heart, all that is dirty, all that is inauspicious, all ignorance becomes cleansed away. So in this way one attains transcendental knowledge. It is not attained by hearing something and then speculating on it. Of course, faith in Shastra can be established by the process. Anuman, or speculation, logic, which is based on Shastra, is also a praman. But that is a praman for us in this present state, our conditional state. That is to help us have faith in the Shastra. Just like Prabhupada would say, that the Vedas state that cow stool is pure. So according to our superficial experience, cow stool is stool. It must be contaminated. Prabhupada said, no, the Vedas say it is pure. And when one does a chemical analysis of cow dung, one finds all antiseptic qualities of it. So that is a kind of correspondence from the pratyaksha and anuman. As long as it is in agreement with Shastra, it can be accepted as praman. But some things are inconceivable. Some things, the examples, like the example of causal lotion and this what you have just described, it helps you to form an understanding in your mind, but you have to remember that you are still in a conditioned state. So if you try to apply your experience too much to such a description, in terms of what we understand here in Durwood as linear cause and effect, the understanding collapses. These things are transcendental, they're spiritual. You might as well ask if everything in the spiritual world is eternal, then what happens to the sweet balls that Krishna eats? Such questions like that. Better you just wait till you get there and then you see yourself. Anything else? Yeah.
Prabhupada sometimes says they were on the moon. And all they brought back are some stones.
Okay, fine. He said Prabhupada sometimes says they were on the moon. He said, Prabhupada says sometimes they were on the moon.
Oh,
And all they brought back was rocks. Yes. If that makes you happy.
No, I'm wondering whether this was an...
Well, this is what I said in the beginning. You can think about these things, but ultimately it's not important. Unless you want to make them very important for yourself. But you've not been on the moon, nor are you going to go to the moon. So therefore, it's all academic, it's all abstract. There are more important things to think about than this. Prabhupada said, it's a matter of faith. It's a matter of faith. They say they went to the moon, they showed pictures on television. But I just saw the other night, it was an interesting exchange between Arthur C. Clarke, who's a famous science fiction writer, and Walter Cronkite, who was a news commentator in America back in the 60s, 70s. So when supposedly they landed on the moon in the Apollo project, Arthur C. Clarke and Walter Cronkite were in the CBS studios. And Walter Cronkite was saying, when I see these televised images, they look just like science fiction movies to me. I mean, it's just like those old films we used to see. Looks just the same. And it's just amazing, that here on this day, here we are, and we're watching something that looks just like those old science fiction films. But now it's real. So Prabhupada said, how do we know it's real? Here he's just said himself, it looks just like science fiction. Could have been made in a Hollywood studio. Could have been made in Nevada, in Area 51. How do we know? How do you know? Answer.
I don't know. I said,
You don't know?
Prabhupada said they were on the moon. So I'm just because sometimes he said they were not on the moon. So what does this mean? What is it?
Yeah, it means maybe they were. Maybe they did go. How is it important to you? Because you have not gone, nor will you go. And it's simply a matter of faith. They say they went to the moon, so if you want to believe that, you can. But all you have is your faith. Fine. You can say, no, they have pictures, rocks. So what? Rocks you can pick up out here in the forest. How does it prove they were on the moon? There is no proof. So yes, maybe they were on the moon, maybe not. What's the difference?
They say they have one proof.
What?
That they...
Why are we getting involved in this anyway? That is not important. I don't want to talk about this anymore. No more questions on the moon. Subject is closed. Yes?
You mentioned these astral projections. I wonder what's happening. Is the soul leaving the body to this new age?
The mind is very supple, very malleable. So the mind can stretches out from the heart. It is projection of consciousness. And goes here and there, comes back. Anything else? Any devotional questions?
And you said that Ayana is so elastic that they cannot be removed. So do they express their elastic desires through their generation, or how can they live with such elastic?
Yeah, anyway, you just study the plant life. They're very lusty, and they have their ways of expressing the lust. I don't feel like talking about it. You just get a biology book and check it out. Yes?
Who is a proper candidate to receive transcendental knowledge?
Who is a proper candidate to receive transcendental knowledge? Yes, one who is simple. There's a term, sharalata. It means simple, not duplicitous. Duplicitous, just like from Chandogya Upanishad. One of the Upanishads, both Indra and Virochana, he was the king of the demigods and Virochana, king of the demons. They went to Lord Brahma, approached him for transcendental knowledge, Brahma Gyan. So Lord Brahma tested them. Lord Brahma said, because Brahma Gyan means knowledge of the self. So both came before him and requested, we want from you knowledge of the self. So Lord Brahma said, yes, you can attain knowledge of the self simply by filling a dish full of water and looking at the reflection. There you will see the self. So he told that to both of them. And when Virochana heard this, he became very happy. Because this confirmed his own inner conviction. Which was what? That the body is the self. Ultimately, body is the self. Ultimately, the purpose of life is sense gratification. So, this is duplicitousness. To come to a spiritual master with, as Prahlad Maharaj uses this term, grihavrata, with already this conviction in the heart that life is meant for sense gratification. I'll come and sit at the lotus feet of the Guru and hear from him and take what I can take for my own purposes, which is to exploit, enjoy, control this material world. And what doesn't fit into my plan, I'll just leave that aside. So therefore Prahlad Maharaj says, Nitya Krishna. Krishna will never appear in the intelligence and the mati of such people. Perhaps they will get other benefits from associating with pure devotee, but they'll not give Krishna. So Virochana, he went back very happily to the Asura Lok, and he was proclaiming to the Asuras, "It's confirmed! I heard it directly from Brahma. The self is this body. Life is for sense gratification." And Indra, he also went back, and but he was not convinced. So he was discussing it with other demigods. Finally, he returned to Lord Brahma. He said, "Brahma, I think you didn't tell us everything." And Lord Brahma said, "Yes, I just wanted to get rid of the other guy." Not in those words exactly, but that was you, I will explain what is Brahma. Yeah. And one should not have an ulterior motive. One should want what Guru and Krishna give. That's all. One should not desire, one should not expect Guru and Krishna to give what we want. That's not the equation. But we should want what they give, what they have come to give. All right, I'll stop this class here. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.